Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay. This time it's going to be Game 2 of the ClanWar featuring NoN-eSports and Clan Sqeht. This is Game 2 featuring soulFLURE also, or soulFLURE, or soulFire. I want to say FLURE, but I know that they're German, so do I pronounce that like it's French? I don't know. I have no idea, so I'm just going to go with soul, the word that I can pronounce, because I've got soul, and so do you. He is our yellow Zerg in the top right-hand corner. He took his game very early in the first match. And now his opponent from Clan Sqeht is Teardrop, who is a mid-master Zerg. I don't know if you remember, but Soul is actually a high master Zerg, so something like 7 seed master Zerg. And Teardrop is somewhere in the middle there, a little bit, some steps lower, but not so much that this is going to be a... this is going to be an easy game for Soul. I mean, they're both masters. They're both comparable in skill. And they're both Zergs, so it's going to be an absolutely fantastic game. Hopefully going to last longer than 6 minutes like the last game. I don't know if you watched that, so I will give you a quick recap for that. Soul took the game very handily in the form of a Baneling bust early on. His opponent, Sela, was playing just a little bit greedy, going for that economic style of rushing to those roaches with that +1. Unfortunately for him, the Baneling bust hit right before those roaches were finished. Only had to deal with 1 or 2 of them, and the numerical superiority of those Zerglings made it so that Soul could easily take that match, doing some massive economic damage, and then the game just quickly spiraled out of control for poor Sela. It looks like both players are saving up for that hatch first build. Indeed, they are throwing down those hatcheries at pretty much identical timing. We have the Overlords moving out, no drone scout from either player, meaning that they're probably not going to be super aggressive. If the hatch first build didn't cue you in on that, this probably should cue you in on the fact that they're not going to be super aggressive. Well, Extractor going down also. Looks like soulFLURE is, yeah, he's also throwing down an Extractor first. So Extractor before spawning pool means that they're going to be rushing towards that speed. We're on Derelict Watcher. Which means it's a great decision. This is a huge map, massive run distance, massive ramps. So Zerglings are very, very powerful, especially if you can get that speed up very quickly. Unfortunately for both players, that very quickly is basically right on top of each other. The extractors are finishing, and they're beginning to accumulate gas with only a handful of seconds between each other. So if there is going to be a player that gets speed before the other one, it's going to be right on top of each other. No real benefit, no real advantage, because their playstyles are pretty much identical, which is cool because that means that this ZVZ is going to be based purely on micro skills, at least for the time being. In the early one, it was a bit of a build order win when soulFLURE crushed that Baneling nest, crushed with his Banelings into that Roach Warren, and got in there and did the economic damage before those roaches could actually come out. And so Sela kind of lost because of his playstyle. However, with Teardrop and Soul, both players are playing this pretty much identically. Look at this. 2 queens, 2 queens. Metabolic boost, 1 drone, Overlord to Zergling. Who cares? It's a single Zergling. So this is as tight as you can possibly get it. And this is actually shaping up to be kind of exciting. Here's the real first discrepancy in the build style, is the Baneling nest popping out from soulFLURE. More importantly, what is he doing with his gas? He is still harvesting his gas, even though he started his metabolic boost, which means he's saving up that gas for something. I feel like the fact that he has not started to produce Zerglings, has not started to position the Zerglings down by the ramp like he did last time, means that he's probably not going to be going for a Baneling bust in this one. This is probably a defensive Baneling nest. We also see a Baneling nest being produced by Teardrop back at home. So I feel like these are both going to be a defensive Baneling nest. Even though he's still harvesting that gas up, he's probably going to be using that gas for an early layer. Of course, I could totally be wrong. Maybe this is just him flubbing his timing just a little bit. But what we've seen out of Soul so far, and what we've seen out of Teardrop so far, tells me that these guys definitely know their build orders. And the fact that they're not producing a bunch of Zerglings means that they're not going to be super aggressive. Producing another Extractor, and there goes the early layer. Absolutely fantastic for both players, actually. Super early layer for both players. Evo Chambers also going down, so that's what that gas is going to. In fact, we don't see a single Baneling being produced for Teardrop. Do we have one already produced? One for soulFLURE, just right at the top of the ramp, just in case there was going to be some sort of Zergling run by again. But no, we have not. There's no form of aggression coming out from either player. They're beginning to tack up, being nice and polite about it. There goes the Roach Warren, which makes perfect sense as the added aggregation of gas. It doesn't really show me that they want to do a Spire. I mean, there's no 4 gases being tapped right now. It's just 2. Heavy on the minerals. Roach Warren coming up also with the +1 for the range. So both players, once again, really identical. I wonder if they've studied each other and knew that they were going to be doing this, or if this is just a very popular build on the ladder right now. And it is, by the way. This is very popular. It's very boring to play because you get out a bunch of roaches and then you just kind of throw them against the opponent. However, that's at the very low levels of play. At the high levels of play, it's all about positioning, and it's 100% based on the concave. And that concave is such a bastard to play with because if it goes your way, you crush in a matter of seconds, and you don't realize you're winning until you've actually won. And so that can be kind of a heartbreaker. However, if you are losing, it's really cool to see if you can manipulate that concave and actually come out with a win. soulFLURE just doing a little bit of a run by now that he's finished up that Zergling speed, see exactly what's happening inside the enemy's base. He had enough to actually do some damage to the economy. However, with those roaches popping out, Teardrop's going to have absolutely no problem of cleaning that up. 9 roaches immediately on the production tab for Soul, and we can see that the just production of roaches is kind of stagnated for Teardrop, so he's not going to be super aggressive right now. He's waiting for those upgrades to finish 1 and Glial Reconstitution. A third has been thrown down by both players actually, but soulFLURE is just a little bit ahead, about halfway done to a quarter done for Teardrop. And with those roaches out and the defender's advantage, I don't believe that these Zerglings were going to be able to do anything, and Teardrop agrees. Did he actually scout that third? He did not. He has not scouted that third. I don't know if you noticed, and I did not point it out at the time, but I noticed. The Zerglings that actually did the run by swaying this way up just to the north side of this massive gap, and that's because of this fantastic Overlord placement from both players. They've really got a lockdown on the most direct pathway into their opponent's base, and because of that, Soul swaying his Zerglings to the north side just for a little bit of a surprise attack to see exactly what his opponent was doing to deny that scouting from those Overlords. And that was cool. That's a neat play. Poked up here into the third just to see if there was anything. He didn't see one, threw down his own third immediately to get that economic advantage. And there is just the slightest of economic advantage, 57 to 52. That's 1 round of drones. We can see that both players are beginning to saturate their thirds, but the third for soulFLURE is just a little bit better saturated than the third for Teardrop. That's going to translate directly into the roaches because their production has really kicked into high ground. We've got 9 roaches on the production tab right now for Soul, and we can have a buttload of roaches already produced by Teardrop. He's also making some spine crawlers, and remember those spine crawlers do extra damage against armored units, really going to help him against the forthcoming push from soulFLURE. So really Teardrop setting himself up to turtle up on that 3 base economy. Maybe get up to +2, maybe get up some form of special tech so they can win out an advantage, but he's defending right now, and he's hoping that Soul is going to actually push into these spine crawlers and take a little bit of extra damage because of those static defenses. Thirds are fully saturated. We have +2 on the way. Burrow, more than halfway done for Soul. A great play there. Remember, the roaches actually regenerate much faster when they are burrowed than any other unit in the game. It's really, really neat, especially when you see that burrow micro popping down a handful of those roaches so that they can regenerate very quickly. 14 roaches on the production tab. We can see that the drone count has pretty much stagnated completely, 61 over 56, a little bit in the favor of Teardrop. And he's not harnessing any gas there. I wonder why he's not doing that. I guess he doesn't really need it. I mean, both players have a little bit of a bank, are beginning to generate a little bit of a bank. We have, tunneling claws. That's a cool play by Teardrop. So I guess that's that hidden tech that I was talking about. Will he be able to use it, though? I mean, we can see that an Overseer is out here already for Soul. And look at this count of roaches. Holy crap. 51 over 38 right now, but Teardrop has those spine crawlers there. Immediately we have 12 more roaches on the production tab for Teardrop, and he'll have to hold just for a handful of seconds with these spine crawlers. The roaches from Soul just tunneled in right on top of them. We can see that the advantage that Soul had just a handful of seconds ago is pretty much melted, and now the fresh roaches from Teardrop have swept in and are frankly pushing back Soul. I don't think he's going to be able to break this. He has taken down the spine crawlers, but this is even, and that means the defender has the advantage right now. So Teardrop manages to hold back soulFLURE, and we can have 30 over 31, 10 over 6, just a little bit in the advantage of soulFLURE. He's starting on that +1 armor. We don't have +1 armor even started for soulFLURE, so in a handful of seconds, if Teardrop can manage to hold the next push, he'll be in pretty good shape because he's going to have that advantage on the upgrade count. However, he's not remacroing the sheer number of roaches necessary to hold back soulFLURE. soulFLURE's got almost 40 and 33 for Teardrop right now. He is going to be planning on producing some spine crawlers, but that's not going to help him in this fight. Here comes the push. This is what I'm talking about with that concave. the roaches are swinging down to the south side, making it so that like 8 roaches can target fire a single roach, and this concave is buckling, and that means that Teardrop is not going to win this fight. And unfortunately for him, he's not going to hold on long enough for these spine crawlers to actually finish and help him out. And all of a sudden, we have a massive advantage for soulFLURE, 26/12, and that was 100% because of that box. soulFLURE electing to make it so that the concave worked to his advantage. Again, pushing forward, making it so they can cut off those roaches. They do try to burrow underneath, but there was those overseers that I was talking about. And all these roaches are going to get picked off. We have 13 more roaches on the production tab, but with 36 roaches and half of them in the natural right now of Teardrop, it looks like this natural is going to fall, and with it the majority of the tech for Teardrop. He's not... Yeah, he's totally dead. I was like, he's not 100% dead yet, because remember, he's got a spine crawler, or a spawning pool back at home who can make some zerglings or something like that. But no, I mean, so many roaches already inside his base. That was such a clutch play. And I'm glad I caught it. Like, the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you have this massive concave where they just line up each other like it's the Civil War or something like that, shooting and exchanging massive blows. But no real advantage for one player or the other whenever you have that straight line. So soulFLURE, he gets maybe 10 roaches and swings them down to the south side of that engagement, positions them so he gets that concave super early, and with that concave you just saw how the entire line buckled and fell like a line of dominoes. It was awesome. It was poetic. It was poetic. But Teardrop played this like a champ too. I mean, he knew what was coming from Soul. He threw down those spine crawlers. He took that early engagement. He lost because of that small little bit of micro, which just tells you how close this game actually was. If Teardrop had a handful more roaches, if he had seen that soulFLURE was doing that and elected to pull back a little bit, maybe he could have taken this. This was super, super tight. I'm looking forward to Game 3, and it should feature soulFLURE again, so I'm beginning to root for him. Regardless, I will see you guys later. I am Ibigandscary. Bye.